Greetings nerdy list aficionados and welcome back. We've been looking at pregnant characters a lot and it's time to look at parents. Parents of all types, and that includes villains. A surprising amount of villains are parents, specifically dads. There's a lot of them. It's clearly a good dynamic narratively or they wouldn't keep doing it. I'm Sasha and these are the top 10 supervillains who are dads. Number 10. Homelander. He's low cause this is being a dad in name only, and also cause to the public he's a hero. Only we the viewer and the boys know the truth, that he's dark, twisted, narcissistic, and a person who will melt your head and drink your milk. Homelander was told that he was infertile, that children were impossible. However, over the course of the series, he learns that he impregnated Becca Butcher after their encounter. He is told first that the baby died, but then comes to realize that he is being lied to, which culminates in the season finale. Cover your ears and back away for a moment if you don't want spoilers. The child survived and has been quietly being raised by Becca in suburbia. Homelander brings Billy Butcher, her husband, along with him to go and meet the child, who he then tells proudly he is his father. Super daddy. I didn't start it, the internet started it. Number 9. Deadshot. Lloyd Lawton. Lloyd Lawton is also a dad, a fact some learned in Suicide Squad, where it went for the just cause he's assassin doesn't mean he's a bad dad. However, did you know that Deadshot is a father a couple of times over in the comics? We are introduced to his first son, Eddie Lawton, in the 1988 Deadshot series. Well, his first child, only son. He ended up being killed when his own mother hired a gang member to sodomize him. This was so he would be motivated to kill his father. For this, Deadshot crippled her. Dark. It was in 2005 when Deadshot got another miniseries and it was revealed that he had a daughter, Zoe, being raised in a drug-filled part of Star City. Floyd decides that he's gonna be more involved this time by cleaning up her neighborhood, cause he knows he can't count on Ollie to do it. He's too busy lecturing people up on the Justice League watchtower. He actually had to convince Green Arrow to patrol the area more often. He also had a daughter, Suchin Lawton, in the New 52, but that was never really elaborated upon. As for Zoe, he felt it best to do what he could from afar. She had been the result of a liaison with a prostitute, and he knew with his life he wasn't going to be able to give her any kind of stability, but he would end up babysitting her a few times and come to love her. But when he is attacked in her presence, he finds he cannot kill in front of her, so he vows to never see her or the mother again. Number 8. Sinestro. Sinestro's backstory has grown more and more, been fleshed out over the years, much like the entire Green Lantern mythos. Before he became a despot, he was married and had a daughter, Saranic, who would come to be disgusted by what her father represented, as well as the uniform he wore. For he presented it as if it was the Green Lantern rings and core that gave him the authority to rule the planet. So when she was selected to be a Green Lantern, she would rail against it, but would ultimately come to see the core as a force for good. Sinestro is extremely proud of his daughter, but will also manipulate her to his own ends, such as when he got her to lead his core, the Sinestro Corps, wielding the color yellow, the color of fear, under the guise that he had changed and wanted to be different and also that he was dying. But really it's so that her good reputation can make the Corps accepted throughout the galaxy, so that they would have their guards down when he re-seized control and was like, I wasn't dying, I'm fine. That's ice cold. Using your kids' love for you against them. Number 7. Lex Luthor. Clone dad. Still counts. So Lex wanted to create a Superman who he could control, and what better way to do that than using the immense resources at your disposal for cloning. The pure Kryptonian clones would prove unstable, so they needed a counterbalance, a bit of human DNA, and who better to provide? And hence we would have a revised origin for Connor Kent or Con-El. In comics at first the dad angle wasn't too played up until Connor wasn't sure exactly whether he was good or evil. And when he swung towards evil for a bit, he lost his hair. The dad angle would be far more played up in the animated verse, both in Young Justice and the DC Original Universe movies, wherein Lex would be distant and in the case of the animated films dangerous, but would take some responsibility for Connor. At the start of Young Justice, he's way more willing to talk to him than Clark. Clark takes a while to get okay with the clone angle there. I'm here for it. Arch enemy sharing a kid. Yes. More please. Number 6. Green Goblin. The Green Goblin is Norman Osborn, and he was known as a dad to Harry Osborn, Peter Parker's high school friend and or classmate, depending upon the canon, way before he was the Green Goblin. Norman Osborn's parental status does play into his character, how he views his son and Peter and his business, all are key factors to him. And of course they end up shaping Harry as well. And then original sin happened, and then you would have 2 more Osborn children via Gwen Stacy. This was with a retcon that made the world sit up and go, ew. Why? Also, this is why you don't lock the writers in a room without letting them see their loved ones. Don't do it. Original sin. These children would end up being raised by Norman, and they were the reason he killed Gwen Stacy, not Peter, cause agency allegedly. These children would be raised to hate Peter and also hyperage because of the Goblin Serum. Eventually they would learn the truth of their histories. Norman is not a good dad. Nope. Number 5. Darkseid is a dad several times over. Darkseid is actually the biological father of Orion, who he traded with the New Gods of New Genesis in one of their periods of peace. He's also the father of Calibac, Graven, and Grail. The exchange of Orion would halt the catastrophic war between the two worlds, and he would be given scot-free Mr. Miracle in exchange. Darkseid is a very cold father, just as he is a cold ruler, befitting of someone reigning over a hell world. The irony, because it's hot. He has little attachment to his children and shows them no affection, but I mean, no one on Apocalypse is having a good time. Everyone is suffering. Darkseid as a father is just a statement of fact. It isn't really an action, but more like notes written in an epic. Darkseid was a baby at the start of Rebirth, so that was a thing. Baby Darkseid on a quest to become adult Darkseid. Number 4, Thanos. Along the same vein, we have Thanos. Now, Thanos' fatherhood plays a bit more into the plot, especially in events in the MCU. Also, if you think Darkseid and Thanos look alike, you're not wrong. Jim Starlin was inspired by Jack Kirby's New Gods when he designed the character. From a young age, Thanos became interested in the philosophy of nihilism and the beauty of death. This resulted in him trying to create a life for himself Death would admire. One of the things he did was have a lot of kids, and he's also an adopted father. And he tends to use his kids for his own aims, such as Gamora, who he adopted to train to kill his enemy, Adam Warlock. In the comic verse, Nebula is actually his granddaughter. So is Thanos a good dad? No. He ranges from absent to manipulative, so no, actually that would be a hard no. No question. Number 3, Vandal Savage. Vandal Savage is an immortal, corrupted by a strange meteorite that fell to Earth during the caveman era. He would become intelligent and long-lived, biding his time amassing power, working in the shadows. Fun fact, he debuted in Green Lantern comics, which most people wouldn't associate him with now. Savage doesn't think highly of people, at all. He was initially from Earth 2 or the Golden Age, but the existence of Earth 1 was revealed to him years in the past, so he readied himself to go there via retcon. Savage is known to have children, and aside for one, he seems to hold no affection for them. That one is Scandal Savage. He is more than willing to cannibalize his own children. He'll eat people. Lex thinks he was the first cannibal. This is because his immortality appeared to be waning, and so he needed a way to recharge, and his own kids or clones were a perfect source of life energy. No Father's Day gifts for a dad who might eat you. Number 2, Ra's al Ghul. Another near immortal, Ra's has far more of a connection with his children, and in a way that makes him more insidious and dangerous. His daughter Talia is entirely loyal to him, and yet he will use his children as vessels if needs be, like actually put his consciousness into them. In fact, he ultimately takes the stance that they should feel grateful to him, that this was their purpose. He also has them to strengthen bonds with regions and people, such as his son, Dusan al Ghul. When you have a seeming eternity, you start to play a very long game. Ra's manages to engender enthusiasm for his cause and his children, and that makes them far more dangerous. There's also some eugenics mindset in there, you know, the best through breeding. It's why he was so keen for Talia and Bruce to get together, and it was part of what influenced Talia to make sure that happened. With these immortal characters, the best part is you can just pull kids out of the woodwork and it makes sense. Seems legit, because when did it happen? Wibbly wobbly timey one. Number 1, Deathstroke. Yes, Slade Wilson himself. His whole existence opens up revolving around him being a dad. Slade only debuts in the 80s, and in the very first issue, his son dies. This is the first issue of the New Teen Titans. Grant Wilson is enhanced by the Hive to take on the Teen Titans, but it goes wrong and he dies. And this is what sets Deathstroke on a vendetta against the Teen Titans for some time. And he would just continue to be entangled with them. His second son, Jericho, would end up joining the team. And his daughter, Rose, aka Ravager, who at first would ally herself with him, would also end up with the Titans. It's just a very frustrating time for Deathstroke. Kids dying or rebelling by joining the Titans, and then dying. Fun fact, Deathstroke has some ongoing comic runs that are actually pretty good. Slade Wilson, he's a dad, and it's been really depressing for him. When your assassinating life is more fulfilling, it's all gone wrong, and you need to try to adopt kids who already have dads. Leave Dick alone. He doesn't want Rick. I'm Sasha, and thanks so much for watching the top 10 supervillains who are also dads. Please let me know who your favorite is down below, and also who we missed. Also, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell notification so that you never miss a vid, and we'll see you again soon. Bye bye. But would ultimately come to see the corpse. But would ultimately come to see the corpse. I know what I'm trying to say. It feels so good to be filming healthy again. Like, whoa.
Alive.